Have you ever wondered what actually links a polite, proper Victorian bouquet to profound, ancient alchemy? It sounds crazy, right? But the breathtaking transformation of a simple blooming flower holds a mystery that goes way, way beyond basic gardening. Today's explainer is going to take you on a fast-paced, totally mind-expanding journey. We're going to uncover how a simple petal can hold the weight of human consciousness and why this silent language is so powerful, it will completely change how you see the world.
Okay, let's dive into it. For centuries, flowers haven't just been pretty decorations sitting in a vase on your kitchen table. No, they've literally been a highly evolved, totally covert communication system. Across completely different eras, cultures, and even dimensions of human psychology, they hide secrets that words simply aren't equipped to handle.
Take a look at this quote from an 1875 guide to florography. It says, "And in their silent beauty speak of life and joy to those who seek." It really captures it perfectly, doesn't it? Historically, flowers have stepped up as a vessel for all those things we simply cannot put into ordinary spoken words. When strict societal rules or the limits of the human mind make words impossible, the silent beauty of a flower steps in to speak volumes.
Section 1, the hidden language of flowers. Let's start right at the surface of the iceberg here, looking at how plants act as encrypted emotional messages in our physical world.
And hey, this isn't just dusty ancient history. It's a huge driving force in modern storytelling too. Think about the popular slow burn romance manga, Only the Flower Knows. The entire emotional weight of that narrative hinges entirely on the unspoken, hidden meaning of a single flower. Without the characters ever having to shout it from the rooftops, the Agapanthus quietly steps in and just says, "I love you."
But let's rewind a bit to the 1800s, because back then, this system was basically a second language. Victorian florography turned physical plants into this intricate, silent dialogue to completely bypass the incredibly strict social etiquette of the time. And the rules? Oh, they were rigid. It wasn't just about the flower itself. It was all about how you physically moved. Handing a flower with your right hand? That meant yes. Answering with your left hand meant no. And what if you dared to hand the bouquet upside down? You were literally conveying the exact opposite of whatever that flower traditionally meant. No way, right?
Moving on to Victorian-era codes. Let's look at the specific, actionable codes used by 19th century society.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer brutal contrast in these meanings. We all instantly recognize the red rose for devotion, sure. But imagine working up the courage to approach a suitor and receiving a yellow carnation in return? Ouch! In this code, that wasn't a friendly little gift. It was a harsh, aversive rejection. Or take aloe. Today we just think of it as a nice healing plant. But hand someone aloe in the Victorian era and you were straight up telling them you felt bitterness and grief.
And it gets even more precise than that. Even the tiniest physical detail of the arrangement completely altered the meaning. If you tied the ribbon to the left, the flower's heavy symbolism applied to you, the giver. But if you tied it to the right, the sentiment was entirely about the recipient. It was a highly specific emotional syntax, acting as the absolute perfect shield for secret lovers.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because our explainer is about to take a massive, mind-bending leap. We are leaving the polite Victorian courtyards behind to dive into the deep, mystical realm of inner alchemy. We're transitioning from the external flower, using a physical plant to communicate with other people, to the internal flower. This is where the flower actually becomes a tool to communicate with your deepest self and the very fabric of your consciousness.
Which brings us to the golden flower of light. This is a profound, ancient Taoist concept where the flower isn't a plant you grow in the dirt at all.
Master Lu Tzu captured this perfectly. He wrote, "When the light is allowed to move in a circle, all the powers of heaven and earth are crystallized." Wow, that isn't just poetry, it's practically a psychological manual. This esoteric ancient text reveals a strict method to cultivate what they call the seed pearl, which is essentially your inner life force. It's all about harnessing the boundless energy of the universe right within your own body.
They achieve this through something called the backward flowing method. Normally, our eyes are just looking outward, constantly getting drained by all the endless distractions of the physical world. Well, this method is all about reversing that outward glance. You actively turn your vision inward to stop that energy drain, bringing that light inside to illuminate what they beautifully call the inner room of the ancestors. So, the crucial point is how you actually perform this. The text outlines a strict 100-day Taoist meditation process. First, you lower your eyelids halfway, literally using your nose as a plumb line, kind of like a mason building a wall. Second, you fixate your thoughts exactly between your two eyes.
Third, you make your breathing completely rhythmical and silent. And finally, in that deep, quiet state, you just allow that inner light to circulate and bloom.
Let's look at the secrets of inner consciousness. How does a modern mind actually process this ancient Eastern mysticism? To understand this, we have to look at Carl Jung, the legendary 20th century psychologist who actually spent years decoding this exact text for the modern Western mind. He realized something absolutely profound. The unconscious can only be reached and expressed by the symbol. He understood that when we're dealing with the deep, chaotic, unconscious mind, literal words completely fail us. We naturally produce symbols, like a glowing, blooming golden flower, because it's the only language our deepest self actually understands.
And this brilliantly illustrates Jung's definition of the mandala. He called it a psychocosmic magic circle. And notice how often throughout history across basically all cultures, mandalas take the exact geometric shape of a blooming flower. Jung argued these aren't just pretty drawings. No way. They are protective, glowing maps of our inner light, actively keeping our consciousness unified so it doesn't get split apart by the sheer chaos of the unconscious.
So let's just step back and look at the incredible journey we've taken together. We've gone from the delicate physical nature of historical Victorian bouquets strategically tied with ribbons to bypass social rules, all the way to the profound cosmic scale of psychological Taoist meditation. The flower really is the ultimate symbol. Whether external or internal, it holds the things we simply cannot say. Which brings us to the end of our explainer today. I want to leave you with this lingering, provocative thought. What does your own internal flower actually look like? Seriously, how are you actively cultivating your own inner light in today's chaotic world? Keep that image blooming in your mind. Thank you so much for exploring this with me today, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.